My next guest says what's left of the public's trust in the federal government is quickly diminishing. He is a Democrat, and he is demanding answers to the federal government's serious missteps and the scandals that are now threatening the White House. Joining us is Congressman John Barrow, member of the Energy and Commerce Committee. Congressman, great to have you with us. Let me start with first Benghazi, these emails. Amongst them, there are a number that contradict the statements of the White House in various forms and the State Department. This looks to be a very serious matter because it goes to the heart, as the White House press secretary said, of the issue in the wake of Benghazi, and that is who changed the talking points and why. Your reaction?
Well, first off, I agree with you completely, Lou, that we got to hold folks accountable for their actions after what happened in the wake of the event, but I don't think we should lose sight of the events that went before. The main concern that I've got is in our holding folks accountable for the shading of the truth or the manipulation of what happened before, that folks aren't really focusing on the mistakes that were made that led up to the deaths in the first place. We really need to remember the folks who died, and those who died not just in this incident, but in other instances around the world, and their families. If we're going to honor them, we're not going to get to the bottom of how folks manage this as a news story. We're really going to focus on the decisions that were made to send people into harm's way and not provide them proper security in advance of these events. That's the only way in which we can truly honor the dead and try and make sure this never happens again.
We've learned that the State Department in the days and weeks leading up to the September 11th, 2012, did not increase security. No one has been held accountable for that. We know that this administration has now misled the American people on the issue of what happened in Benghazi and why, and that Muslim video. What do you think should be the consequences?
I think the consequences should depend entirely upon the facts and circumstances of who knew what and when. Anybody who was directly responsible for the shortcomings that led to the deaths in these cases should be held directly responsible. Those who are responsible only for finding out about it after the fact should make sure that those who screwed up beforehand are held accountable for what they did. Accountability is a good thing. There's accountability for the things that you know about and that you're directly responsible for, and there's accountability for the things you find out about after the fact. There seems to be some shortcomings on both sides of the transaction here.
And Congressman, going to the IRS scandal, the president has changed his tone, has taken action to relieve the acting commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, but that is it. Your thoughts on the IRS scandal, that is the targeting of conservative groups and denying them their tax-exempt status because of their ideology, and secondly, creating effectively an enemies list?
It's totally unacceptable, whether it's done at a high level for political purposes or done at a low level by folks who don't understand what the responsibility is. I heard a lot about this at the town hall meetings I had last weekend, and we're going to hear more about it in the future. Look, political profiling is totally unacceptable for any purpose under the government, but especially when you consider the awesome power that the IRS has to enforce its mandates to make sure that folks pay what they owe. The idea that they're going to abuse that power or have a selective tilt or slant in how they enforce those awesome powers is totally unacceptable. I think our friends on the right are justifiably upset that it kind of happened, tend to focus on their side, but no one should rest easy with a branch of government having these kind of powers, basically being selective in who they're going to hassle and who they're going to give the stamp of approval to. It's totally unacceptable.
Congressman, we thank you for being with us. Congressman John Barrow.